This is Tikaboo7, and this is my journey to the top of Tikaboo Peak. I want to share with you guys a collage of video clips and images along the way and back, and hopefully drop some information here and some tips that'll help anyone that's trying to make it up to Tikaboo in the future. And what you see here is more military equipment. This was 44 West, headed toward Tulsa, Oklahoma, keeping track of all the movement that I saw, as well as share some beautiful clips of the countryside. This is New Mexico. This is off the Continental Divide exit, and this is really where the landscape starts to take a change if you're traveling out toward the west, and it starts to get really scenic. I spent a lot of time in the car, 3 days out there, 1 day climbing the mountain, and then 3.5 days back in the car. So best part about that, being able to see some of the beautiful countryside, and I wanted to show you guys as well, especially some of you that may never make it out to this neck of the woods.
There you guys go. Good shot of it.
I also came across
This is Tikaboo7.
more military equipment in Arizona.
We've got a
This was a set of Humvees on a flatbed. I did a separate video one, but this was from a different angle and perspective here. And like I said, 40 West heading through Arizona. And by the time I made it to Nevada, Mother Nature had something in store for us. Now, this footage is pretty wild. First flash flood that I had ever encountered. And we were parked on the side of the road here and had to take off before it crept up on the back of the car. Now, what most people did not see is the next bit of footage, and it is the storm before this. And it packed a punch. As you can see here, both sides of the road completely flooded. And this is a severe flash flood right here. This is something you do not want to get caught in. And like I said, by looking at the other footage after the sky had cleared and we'd been sitting there for a while waiting for the water to die down, that's where I got that footage coming up the side of the road. But this is where it all began, with this flash flood covering the only road heading into Alamo, the only road to get to where we were going, Little Alien on Extraterrestrial Highway. The rain started to pick up here, hail started to come down, and it started pummeling the car, and that's when we had to get out of there.
The long line of traffic back here. It goes back further than that truck that you're seeing there. We're all waiting on this flash flooding. I've been stalled out already for at least an hour. We hit a little bit of hail, turned around and went back up the road, sat right on the outskirts of this. Finally decided to come back down through here right now, and as we did, here come the flash flooding. And it looks like the guys in front of us didn't want to risk it.
And that's why
they're going to try to ride it out, and just going to sit here and see what happens here for a bit, but this could be a game changer if this doesn't let up.
And it picked up even harder, and we had to turn around from here.
It's not good. This is what we're facing here. Oh, and it's getting even windier, and the rain's getting even heavier. All right, it's time to make a move. Just come here.
And that's when we got out of there. Once I decided to finally plow through the water barrier, and look at the sign with all the bullet holes there. Let me back it up one more time for you guys. This is Extraterrestrial Highway. This is off of 93 North. We hung a left, and this is it. Over those mountain ranges right there sits S4 in Area 51. Now, coming down this road for the first time, you may not realize it, but that is the road that takes you back to the base right there. It looks like it's the road you're traveling on till you cut around the corner and you realize it's a road that goes out into the middle of the desert into nowhere. Once you look at the maps, you get to figuring out where you're at. Well, this is the road that the black mailbox sits on and runs all the way down to Area 51. This is the road that all the shuttle buses are spotted going down when they pick people up at the park and ride. this is it. This is heading down Extraterrestrial Highway toward the Little Alien, which is situated down here on the left-hand side past all of this. And if you're heading to the Little Alien, this is what it looks like.
Little Alien.
And I was riding out at that point, getting ready to head right back out into the storm. And I'll show here more storm clouds as the skies can change at a moment's notice. And one thing I learned on this trip is just like the military activity is unpredictable, so is the weather. It's something you really have to pay attention to. And from the Little Alien, we took off on our mission to Tikaboo. Now I want to point out something here. You can see the quads we were carrying on the way. The path is critical. And along the way, we went up a shorter path, what seemed to be the shorter path, but actually it took 2 hours longer than the southern path. The southern path by the lake is the straighter, smoother route to go to take you about an hour. It took us an hour to get out. We went in the northern way, and it was tight, going up cliff edges. It's very scenic, but if you're working against time, you want to get in there as quickly as possible. And the route was a huge snag. We hit a big rock that dinged up the trailer. Fortunately, it was able to hold up and stay together and get them guys all the way back up to Washington, get them back home. But this is some footage of the path.
Just want to share with you guys some of the view here. It's a rough road, but I wanted to put this out there so if anyone attempts to come to Tikaboo and they see this video, they learn lessons from our mistakes.
And also pick up on the tips that we're dropping here and that I'm dropping in this video in regards to going up here. Like I said before, you want to take the southern path. There will be a gate you're going to have to go through. You may pass some cows in the road. Just close the gate behind you. This will eventually end at a pull-off, and you'll be able to tell it's like a camping site, and there will be a reflector on a tree. You can go no further, really, unless you have quads. And that's where we got out of the truck, got all the quads off, and headed up the trail. And once you take off the main trail, it is very noticeable as people have gone out of their way to mark the trails. You can see here with all kinds of yellow caution tape. Some of it has been bleached white by the sun. There's also aluminum foil on the trees, as you can see here, as well as rocks on the ground that are wrapped in aluminum foil. You'll also notice white paint that is splattered. The trail is marked pretty darn good all the way to the top. Only a couple times we stopped and had to look around, but you only have to move 5 feet or so and you're going to see the marker and see where you have to go. The trail is rather obvious all the way to the top, where once you get to the top, we were on quads. We forked off and took another path separate from the walking path because we would have never went any higher from there. And we kept on marching up the hillside as high as we could go. It was like trying to climb a gravel pit. And I don't know how Lance did it, but I guarantee you Lance took the quad higher on Tikaboo than anyone ever has. I guarantee you. It still baffles me how he pulled it off. But we all had our sticky situations when it came to climbing the mountain and coming back down. And as you guys will see later in this video, Spiro had a tumble and actually rolled the quad at the top of Tikaboo and was extremely lucky to have stopped it, or it would have went down the hillside and blown up. But this is what the trail looks like, marked, and these are things to watch for making your way in. And here's a couple clips of us about 3/4 of the way up on foot.
What up, guys? Cannons, Tikaboo 7, and we are almost to the summit of Tikaboo Peak, and let me tell you, it is one hell of a hike, and we even had 4-wheelers for half the ride, but hauling those 4-wheelers made the trip slower on us getting down the road. So, but hey, this is one hell of a hike. You really gotta guess on some of the roads here. And, I mean, we're up there.
And I said that because we came in that northern route, and the northern route was very choppy. The southern route, like I said, is a straight shot.
Let him get caught up. Let us all get some wind.
Spiro coming around the corner.
We're gonna try and finish out this lake here. You guys can see right there in that cut, that road. Down. Around. And we're trying to get up over the other side of that ridge right there. That's it, right there where that weather station is. Right over there? No. Yeah. Right there? Left. Oh, right there. I can't get it on the zoom here, but it's right there. Where I try to zoom in on weather station. That's it. On our way.
And this shot was up a little higher.
Right outside the summit of Tikaboo.
And you could see it there.
Where that tower is, if you guys can see it. That is the summit. And if you guys can see, I could barely see. Right over there it is. You can actually...
And the sun, sweat in the eyes, was giving us a problem. But in this next clip, it's where I realized that right over the ridge is the first spot where you could see Area 51 before you ever even get to the top of Tikaboo. And this is a shot of that spot. This is a flat that sits down from the weather station, and this is the first spot where you get a glimpse of Area 51. As you can see here, it's a different angle. We didn't spend a whole lot of time here because we wanted to get up to the top, although we did make a pit stop in this area on the way down to get some other footage. That's another thing. Keep an eye out for footage down the road, exclusive footage from this trip that will be uploaded by everybody here, all different channels. Everyone's got so much footage and some exclusive shots that you're never going to see anywhere else. Really exclusive. And this is when we made it to the top. This is off of Spiro's feed. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the streaming up here. Anyone that wants to go up here streaming, we ran into several different issues with trying to hold down a solid stream. But first off, what I want to point out to you is this area right here. I just want to go ahead and make everyone aware of it. There is a long shaft that kind of like runs across this area. Maybe it's a long building of some sort, but there are other small tube-like buildings that stick up. In one of the other videos, and I'm going to show it in this as well, we caught two mystery objects sitting outside of the runway, glistening. In this clip, Spiro, while trying to live stream, was luckily recording raw footage. Okay? Out of nowhere, an object seems to roll out. Now, I want everyone to keep in mind here that the sun is shining off the roof and off of everything. I want you to see it reflecting where it's reflecting everywhere. Nothing changes here. In the sense, right now, you're going to see an object start to come into frame. It gets bigger, it gets more noticeable, it gets brighter, and unlike the building next to it, it has a shadow underneath of it. Now, we've gone back and forth through this. Spiro has some amazing images of before and after, and you can even see light gleaming off of this. You can see it running down it, the whole nine. Now it's bling. It is there. It is a big object, and it just so happens to be cigar-shaped, sitting outside of a hangar on Area 51. Now, these were some of the most craziest shots because, I mean, we really couldn't tell while up there in the sun in our eyes what was down there on the ground exactly. We were just seeing the silhouettes and outlines of things. We really couldn't tell if things were morphing, changing, coming a little bit closer, going a little bit further away. But one thing's for sure, the object that you see here would fit inside of that hangar. And it looks like it got pushed out or pushed forward, almost toward the camera some. Either that or the object we're looking at just so happened to materialize right in front of our very eyes. And I'm going to back it up. And in other footage, you can see there is a square building here that's connected to another type of structure. But the structure looks like it goes down underground. It reminds me of like a massive ventilation tube or something that may come up out of the ground here that sits very low to the ground. And as you can see, out of this spot comes this mystery object. And this is what I mean. As it comes in clearer and clearer, you can see it seems like it's coming toward the cameras. Ever so slightly. Just enough to where you start to get a lot of definition. And it has a shadow underneath of it. You can see the lights gleaming off of it too there. So unlike the buildings around it that run all the way to the ground, that have no shadow underneath of them, this object seems to have a shadow underneath of it. And just literally comes out of nowhere. Now, like I said, Spiro has a lot of other shots here. He has before and afters where this thing is literally there, and then others, it's gone. So one thing's for sure. People can argue back and forth about, oh, it was a UFO, it was technology, or it was a building, or it was this or that. Something changed in the frame. We have no more proof than what you're saying. It's up to everyone's own theory at this point to what it could be. But I'm also going to show you the lights that I put out in another video that were down by the Southern Hangar that ended up vanishing on film. So what we have here is a massive cigar-shaped type object, what seems to be that, coming into focus very brightly after there was absolutely nothing there to begin with. Okay? And it's a pretty big object that's down there on the apron of that runway, regardless. Okay? There it is, coming right back in the frame there. Take it back to where there's nothing. Nothing. And it's there. So that is what went down with this middle hangar. And what was so interesting about this whole thing was Spiro was trying to live stream, obviously, but he was also recording the raw footage, as you guys see right here. Lance was unable to record any raw footage. It was flashing on the screen. I thought it was the battery or something because it looked like the battery. But it was his chip flashing, saying that it was not recording any raw footage. So what we think happened here is before we headed up the mountain, and I advise you guys do not do this. Don't try to send tweets out, any big messages, anything, because we think Spiro's phone, just like mine, was continuing to constantly try to kick out those messages, and it was working too much. Not only that, he was using his phone as a hotspot, okay? And his phone was trying to kick out all this stuff, do all this extra work, and his camera also was doing extra work. It was recording raw footage while also trying to live stream. And we think the combination of all the stuff was just too much. And with me, my Lumix account, or Linux account, whatever it's called, through the Panasonic, wouldn't hold up here. I tested it once I got back, it worked, but that connection would not hold up here. Spiro, I think, had too much going on with the phone and the cam, but thankfully, everything worked out the way it did. He got this raw footage. Canon's got none. But what did we get out of Canon's? Well, we got the live stream. We held down the live stream the best off of Lance's stream. He had the exact same camera as Spiro, and thankfully he bought one the day before the trip. They had the same service provider. The only difference was Canon's used a Samsung Galaxy S6 and Spiro used the iPhone 6. And in the end, it was Lance or Canon's, his service or his phone, that technique, whatever worked there, whatever was going down, made it happen. And what we're thinking is that, yeah, it sucks. His memory wasn't working. His chip didn't record the raw footage. But we think that allowed the device to focus on streaming. You see what I'm saying? The phone wasn't trying to do too much because he wasn't trying to send out tweets beforehand. His camcorder wasn't trying to do too much because it wasn't trying to record the raw footage and live stream at the same time. It was just focused on live streaming. And here we have a shot from my camcorder in a pan.
And you were looking at Area 51. That's where it sits, 26 miles out from here on the top of Tikaboo.
Now this building here seemed to have an 11 on top of it. And the northern bigger hangar here seemed to have a 7-1A on top of it.
On that building.
Here's a look back at one of the middle buildings. And then I'll swoop down here to
just gonna scan.
See the Southern Hangar. Right here.
Got another one here.
And as we were watching here at first, we kept speculating if they were moving something out of the hangar. You could see him as something right there. It looked like something was possibly being pushed out of the hangar. This is before we witnessed anything on the apron, anything out there. It was later, right there on that same apron, we witnessed a lot of flashing activity. And I'll show that here in just a second. This is a shot from the Panasonic.
Guys, here you go. Here is a shot at Area 51. And a look down inside of the base. Gonna get this live stream up and going. Had to get some footage. It's at 500 times zoom. Let's back it out here so you guys can see the full shot. That's the ridge. Looking down in Area 51, we heard jets in the skies on the way out here. Haven't seen any activity since we've been up here, but just like the weather, it's unpredictable. They don't put out a schedule on this stuff.
And that's the truth. We came up the mountainside and we could hear the jets roaring, flying through the skies, but we couldn't spot them. And by the time we got to the top of the peak, we didn't see anything. Here's a back out and a pan. I just want to show you guys all the way around what it looks like from the top.
Back out here, just get a pan. You guys get an idea how beautiful this is up here all the way around. What up? I don't know if you guys can see up there.
And I'm going to pause it here. That camera, when we were live streaming, I zoomed in on it, and as soon as I did, it killed the feed. Instantly. I mean, we were streaming great. I turned around that camera, zoomed in on it, and it killed it as soon as I said it.
There's Lance and the camera up top. I've got to turn around backwards.
And there came Spiro. And that's a look all the way, a pan around the top there at the summit of Tikaboo Peak. Straight out from Area 51 and S4 being over down this way. And now, here, in this clip, you can see these two objects on this new Southern Hangar. And I did a separate video on this before we even took off on this mission, explaining how Google Images does not show this new Southern Hangar, that only certain satellite feeds will show this hangar.
This is Daboo 7, guys. Shooting a final video. We got some fluttering. Look straight down there by the... Look straight outside of the hangar, the southernmost hangar. Zoom in on it, on the southern part of the field. I'm trying to see what these objects are, and we're packing up. This is going to be one of the final shots from the top of Tikaboo, looking down at Area 51. But you can see these two objects down there kind of twinkling.
And they were down there shimmering in the sunlight, as you could see here, and had us all wondering, what could it be? At this point, you have to realize this is Area 51. This is where they test crazy technology. So, without a doubt, this is some kind of technology down here outside of the hangar being tested. This makes two mysterious objects or instances, things that have happened near these hangars. We had the long cigar-shaped object that popped out in front of the other hangar, and although there is a building sitting there behind that, you guys saw how it almost looked like something came into frame. It like it came forward. And as you can see here, even when I pan out, as I was panning out, you could see it. I asked Spiro if he had it locked.
And this is the crew.
And he said, yeah.
And without them, this would have never, ever went down. One hell of a ride. Let me tell you what it took to get to this point. We had to leave the quads parked on a face of a mountain. Rocks and gravel giving away on us and everything. It was pretty wild.
And that's the truth. And as you can see here, these objects continue to move around, change, shine. And, I mean, you can see the heat waves. You can see all the detail in the buildings. You can see the light reflecting off the rooftops of all the buildings. And without a doubt, there's metallic objects out there all over the place. Whatever these are, they are moving. And they're moving in a manner to where they're giving off all kinds of different angles and reflection of light. And rather quickly at that, out here on the apron outside of this new hangar. This is what the place is known for. Testing, technologies and things of that nature. But these were the final shots that we caught up here on Tikaboo of this mystery object. And I'm going to show you them disappearing. Now you can see the objects in this clip. This is not that long of a clip, but you can tell one thing. They vanish. And I'll run it twice. Watch. Watch what they do. Gone. After that whole show, that whole time, they are now gone. And one more time, zoomed in here a little bit more. And it looks like these will remain just that, a mystery. But this is what we witnessed down here outside of these hangars at Area 51. And no doubt, them testing some type of technology that just vanished, as you can see. And right before we came down off the top of Tikaboo, I had to hook up to the telescope. And it's shaky, so I'm just going to kind of go through here. But one thing about the telescope, and it was a small telescope. We didn't have the big telescope we were hoping for because Paul didn't end up making it. But with the big telescope, I assure you, we would have got just as clear as definition here. And that's the good thing about the telescope. There wasn't all that pixelation in it, although it was shaky. And I forgot that Spiro bought me and gave me this little clip that will clip onto the telescope and hold your cell phone, which is awesome. I've messed with it since. But windy up there. When you have your tripod set up, you have to have a solid one, especially when it's windy up there, because you'll get shaking like this. And not to mention trying to hold it and all that. It was pretty difficult. But what I realized instantly when using the telescope is this isn't any closer than what the cams can provide. And matter of fact, the cams got up closer. But with a bigger telescope, you're going to get closer and you're going to get clear with no pixelation. That's what I'm talking about. Pause it right there. And once we wrapped up, we did our sign off from the top of Tikaboo.
Signing off from Tikaboo. Wanted to give a shout out to everyone else out there that had our back on this mission. It's been one hell of a ride. Me with cannons here. Spiro. I mean, these guys.
And these guys rock. Truly, without them, this would have never went down.
It took 5 hours just to get to the base of the mountain. We even had quads. Had to leave them parked on the side of the mountain because the gravel was just falling away.
Sorry, Chris.
Running out of daylight now, so we're signing off. This is the final shot from the top of Tikaboo. Wanted to just give a shout out to everyone out there that kept us in their prayers and that has our back. All the real cats. Love all you. And we did a first here. We were able to catch the Southern Hangar, the first images and footage, and we also provided the first live stream of Area 51 from Tikaboo. Granted, it was hellacious, and if he wouldn't have had his camera that he bought last minute and had been set up, we wouldn't have pulled it off. We would have been stuck with Spiro's choppy because my Linux account wouldn't connect because of the connectivity up here. But it's been one hell of a ride, and mission accomplished thus far. Being able to get out here and see Area 51 and get shots that have never been seen before. So I'm going to zoom in and show you guys the Southern Hangar here real quick, and say bye, guys.
See you later. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Signing off.
Happy hiking.
Yeah. And we got a long way back to base camp.
And from there, we had the quad ride down the mountain. Now, as you guys are going to see, this was on the edge of a cliff here where the rocks are basically nothing but gravel here that gives way in a takeoff down the mountainside. You're going to see a couple kick loose and actually roll down the mountainside here. But this is Spiro's cam, his helmet cam. He has a lot more footage he's going to be uploading. But this is coming down off the top of Tikaboo. And he passed the trail that we went down and was trying to throw it in reverse and get back up to another position. And we were down here below.
Watch out! Hey, which way did you go? Fuck, I went too far.
We were right down there on the right. As you can see, this is straight down here. And this is where he started to run into problems. He backed it up and simply just tried to go out the other way. And here we go. And he got extremely lucky here that this thing didn't take off all the way down the mountainside. And I come running up and grab the front. We had to take the winch off the front and get a tree up here to tie off to it and literally inch this thing across the top of the mountainside to get it out of there safely.
I had to push it and stop it from fucking rolling.
Many people that roll a quad at this elevation don't live to tell about it.
Trying to come through this other spot.
And that was a pretty wild and hairy situation. Just thankful that he was not hurt and that we were able to get the quad out of there. Thanks safety, guys. And this here footage from the base camp. This is the bottom of Tikaboo. This is where the trail ends and where we parked our truck and unloaded the quads.
W7. We just made it back down here. To the foot of Tikaboo. Back down here.
Barely.
Barely. And let me tell you something. Old Spiro here rolled the freaking quad on Tikaboo. I mean, it's dangerous. He was creeping. I mean, it's as slow as you could possibly go in low gear. four-wheel drive, and it bucked him. And he charged it like a football player. Twice to stop it from rolling. Luckily, it didn't smash him. And
600-pound quad. There was a cliff about 10 yards downhill from me. A cliff. I wasn't going to let it go.
It only like about 250 feet down, or yards down.
anyhow, we made it down from the top of Tikaboo. Just wanted to do a recap, let everybody know we made it through the roughest part.
Halfway.
You know,
We're down.
now we're gonna load up and get back to base camp. But yeah, what a ride, man! What a ride!
Right on, brothers.
This has been Tikaboo 7 and the crew, Spiro, Cannons,
Peace.
Much love.
leaving the base of Tikaboo.
And there's the quad that I rode, and a shout out to Chris, the guy that let me borrow this. That's just awesome that someone out there will say, hey, Tikaboo can use my quad. I appreciate that more than you know, man. For real. And once again, much love to Spiro and Lance, because without them, I'd have never made this. And once back to the little alien, we set up shop here for a final live stream.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna get live. Let's see.
Let's go live. Final live stream from Little Alien outside of Area 51.
And that is where we shot the action you're about to see here.
Absolutely beautiful sunset. Little Alien, Area 51. Right over the mountain pass.
And I had to get a drone flight
And we're going to take a drone flight.
off into the sunset.
Off we go. Oh, it's tight.
Chasing the sunset.
So when I took it up, I took it further on out toward the sun. You'll see it racing out toward the sun here in a second. All of this on their property and open in an open place to fly. And like I said, this was 26 miles away
Way out there.
from the base and well away from any no-fly zones or activity. But I'm going to say it again. Keep your eyes open for footage exclusive from me that you're never going to see anywhere else. You never know when it might drop. And here is the final drone shot from the Little Alien. Cannons just ripping up the desert flat here during the sunset. Wanted to get a final shot here. Our last evening here at the Little Alien. And we did have a killer sunset setting. And this was us wrapping up the show here. So, all in all, this trip, an amazing one. And like I said before, without Lance and Spiro, it would have been impossible. One hell of a mission, that's for sure. And as he heads out here for this final cruise, we'll bring it back in. And I made sure everybody gave a good wave to the camera. This is it. Out in the desert, outside a Little Alien. Finishing our trip, our mission up the Tikaboo. It didn't end here. Had a long ride home. Going to show some footage of that as well. Some military activity on the way out. But as for the Little Alien, this was it. I also want to recommend anyone that wants to take this trip, takes a Camelback, plenty of water, an array of equipment if you're looking to live stream up there, and plenty of food. And like I said before, you want to make sure that you stick to that southern route. It is the straightest route. It is the smoothest path, and we got out of there in about an hour compared to the 3 hours it took going in, and then 2 hours on top of that driving from Little Alien all the way to the base to that spot. So it was quite a haul. And this is us signing off and waving. Out of the camera, guys. Say bye. From Little Alien. This literally the end of the mission here before we hit the road, sailing back home. And I gotta say, for those that have never witnessed Utah, absolutely amazing.
This is Tikaboo 7, wanting to share with you this absolutely amazing view here in Utah. This is 70 east, heading toward Denver, Colorado, and it is some of the most absolutely stunning countryside you will ever see if you've never seen it.
And that's the truth. Audio there was kind of choppy with the wind blowing, but I had to get some clips of this. For those of you out there that have never seen the countryside like this, I'd never seen it, and it was just absolutely stunning. Utah is just got more jaw-dropping landscape than any other state that I'd passed through. New Mexico, Arizona, all beautiful. Colorado Rockies, beautiful itself in its own way, but Utah here, amazing. And before we got out of there, although we didn't hit no hard rain, maybe a couple sprinkles here and there, we were blessed with a beautiful rainbow in the skies above the absolutely amazingly beautiful Utah. Just can't get over the landscape there, just stunning. And wanted to share what I saw with you guys here. And then once I made it into Colorado, started to see more chopper activity in the skies. As you can see here. And as I got closer, I realized it looked like something came out of the bottom of the chopper. He was swooping back and forth over the highway, low over top of buildings, and got so low, I mean, to the point here as I was going by, he was just sitting there off the side of the highway, that I lost him on the other side of this building. I finally picked him back up on the other side. But this was a good 30 minutes away from the summit area, in which I'm getting ready to show you in another clip where I saw another chopper and was wondering if it was the same one. And the reason I say that is because here again, it looked to be the same chopper before we got out of the area, coming right back down over the highway. Right next to the highway. Just really odd when you're cruising down the road and choppers start swooping above you, in and out, crisscrossing around the highway. You're not sure what they're doing, what they're up to. This is what I witnessed on 70 East heading through Colorado. And like I said, we had this strange chopper activity. I headed down the road, a good ride, a good 20-30 minute ride down the road from here to get to the summit, which I'm going to show you next. And in the background, I didn't notice it at the time, but after watching the footage, here comes a chopper in the background. And I really was wondering if it was this one or if it was another one. But there you go. Strange chopper activity, Colorado.
Hey guys, had to pull over here and get this. This is
the summit, 9,150 feet.
Summit, Colorado. This is the first time I've ever been here. I seen it on the side of the road. I was like, man, we got to pull over and get this. Absolutely amazing.
And there he is. There's another chopper.
The mountains here, the water. Get back up over that ridge line. See if I can't get a good zoom up on that mountain.
Just absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely, amazingly beautiful.
And with the camera watching your every move.
It's one of-
I want to share some drone footage of this. And from the summit, I pulled over off of 70. It's literally right there off the highway. And just an absolutely beautiful landscape here at 9,150 feet in the Colorado Rockies. Some of the most gorgeous, most amazing landscape you're ever going to see out in Utah, Colorado. Just absolutely stunning. But that's a shot from the summit in Colorado. And once I hit Kansas, there was really nothing to see. All flat and boring. So really, all the beauty, Utah and Colorado, just absolutely filled with it. So for this trip, it was definitely one heck of a haul. I gotta say, you know, the only thing that kept this whole trip feasible for as long as I was driving was being able to see some of the beautiful countryside that I'm sharing with you guys here. It was a big part of the trip because I had to spend, 3 days in the car on the way out there, 1 day climbing a mountain, and then another 3.5 days in the car driving back home. It was one heck of a ride. But in the end, worth it here. Being able to share this experience and all this footage with you guys. So keep an eye out for other footage that you may have expected to be in here that didn't make it for its own reasons, and for footage that, Spiro, Cannons, and myself just have not had the time to get to and to get out there. So keep an eye out for extra little clips here and there, and especially one huge exclusive video that you're never going to see anywhere else. So I hope this video was informative and helps those of you that are looking to make this mission or this trip yourself, and keep an eye out for more exclusive footage that you're never going to see anywhere else. And thanks to everyone out there, once again, that kept us in their prayers. It's appreciated more than you know. And this has been Tikaboo, documenting my journey to pull off this first ever live stream and first ever footage of the Southern Hangar from Tikaboo of Area 51. It would have been possible without Spiro and Cannons. Much love, guys. You know the motto, eyes to the skies.